Sacred Mass, Chapter 54, Helmer's Little Helper. The following day came, and Helmer languidly came downstairs, and he had a dogged look on his face, and he ate his meal slowly without much enthusiasm. And after 20 minutes he emptied his entire plate, and while he was licking the silver, Caron noticed bags under Helmer's eyes. "He looks like he didn't sleep," commented Caron. And Helmer drank coffee, and that brought his senses back on, and he asked, "Have you found employment yet?" Not really. I used to manage a mine, but that is about it. And there is not really a demand for someone who puts people to sleep or that can burn them or paralyze them. And with a burning scene, I can change the shape of the fire and the intensity of the flames. But this new type of control is only useful for parlor tricks, and I have been trying to learn new skills, but nothing seems to work. And my head gets flustered easily, and then I forget. I'm good with a baby, and I can help out in the store as soon as it opens," explained Caron. "I see," said Helmer, narrowing his eyes, and he tapped his fingers on the kitchen table nervously. "So what is the diagnosis?" asked Marina. "What diagnosis?" asked Helmer, losing his train of thought. "You had that doctor look, the type you get when you're reading a patient's chart. And is there something wrong with Caron?" asked Marina. "Nothing that a little pampering cannot fix," said Helmer, smiling. "Till lunch, Caron is going to be my little helper. And normally Lotta is my helper, but she made herself indisposed in order to babysit Seabreeze. And you can fill in Lotta's role." "I don't know," protested Caron, certainly not enamored with the idea of assisting a doctor. "Don't worry, I don't have surgery scheduled for today, just home visits. You can do home visits, can't you, sweet Caron?" asked Helmer. "I don't know," said Caron nervously. "You don't have to do much, and I have been Daddy's helper before. You'll be fine. Worst case scenario, you will have to lift a heavy person or provide some bad news." "Daddy's terrible at giving bad medical news," said Marina. "But you can handle that, can't you, Caron?" Helmer started crying, and he was afraid of having to give bad news today. And Allan picked up his father, and he cradled him back for a bit until he settled down. And Allan said, "Can I be your little helper too today, Daddy?" "No, you're much too big to be a little helper," said Helmer flatly. "And what about me, Daddy? Can I be your little helper today?" asked Marina, raising her hand. "Settle down, Marina," said Helmer. "I wanted to be the little helper today," said Marina sadly. "Tomorrow, when you don't have work," said Helmer. "You promise?" said Marina, being a brat. "I promise," said Helmer. And with a promise made, Marina and Allan left to work in the Trogan. And Caron found himself alone with Helmer, and Helmer said, "Let's start with the supplies." And Helmer guided Caron to his lab, and then he explained, "If you're going to be my helper, you need to remember the name of each of the items of my trade. Stethoscope, tongue depressor, syringe, needle." Caron looked at each other with curiosity, and Helmer added, "And the most important items in our profession, a mask and gloves." "When you met baby Allan, did you cry?" "I cried when I met Charlie," said Caron. "I cried as well," said Dougherty, "but of despair. I did not want children, and now I have a grandchild on top of everything I have to deal with." Helmer returned with his lesson, with Caron making the best effort to pay attention. And both went to do the home visit, with Caron carrying Helmer's briefcase. And in the first house, they treated an old woman's back pain, and in the second house, they visited a baby with a cold. And Helmer put on a mask to inspect the child, and he examined the kid, and he gave the mother the cough medication for the kid. And Helmer then cleaned himself, and outside Caron was pouty, and he asked, "Why couldn't I see the baby?" "He is sick," said Helmer. "We saw other sick people too," protested Caron. "Arthritis is not something you can catch, baby Caron," explained Helmer. "And kids sometimes get illnesses that tend to hurt adults a lot worse. And it is best not to take any chances, and people should avoid getting ill as much as possible." And he said, "Did that, you wouldn't have a job," said Caron, smiling. "On the other way to the next house," he asked, "Was it hard abandoning your kids?" Helmer sighed, and he said, "Was it hard to discover that your son was dead?" The two did not speak to one another till they reached the next house, and in this one there was kids playing in the room nearby. And Caron wanted to check up on them, but Helmer summoned him to help him with the patient, the grandmother. And after they were done, Helmer quickly walked out and Caron was forced to come along. Did it make you happy to adopt Hope, or was he a replacement son or something? Asked Caron. Helmer sighed, becoming increasingly annoyed with Caron's hurtful question, and Allan had warned his father about them. And Helmer sighed again and said, I did not adopt Hope, he adopted me, and he caught me when I was vulnerable, and before I knew it, I was worrying about what the kid was up to. I see, said Caron, so it just happens to you. Before you know it, you're responsible for a new mouth to feed. Helmer sighed again, and this time he started to rub his temple. And he said nothing in order to avoid engaging Caron. He was starting to regret going out with the little ogre. And Caron did not say anything for a bit, and Helmer was able to finish his last visitation without an incident. And Helmer checked the time and he said, let's go home, we can watch up and then meet with the others for lunch. And Helmer teleported back home with Caron and he said, take a shower, not a bath. And why do I need to shower? Protested Caron. You were around sick people and their disease clings to your hair and skin. And if you eat food, you might just put the sickness into your mouth, explained Helmer. I don't know, but I will take your word for it, said Caron, going to the shower. Helmer showered quickly and he even washed his long black hair. And he got dressed in a civilian clothing, and then he went downstairs to wait for Caron. And Helmer had the dog shower closed and then the bathroom door opening. And it was followed by the sound of drawers opening and closing. And after a couple of minutes, the sound of Caron whose sobbing was heard. And Helmer climbed upstairs and he found Caron crying while sitting in his bed. And Helmer sat beside Caron and he hugged the young man to console him. And Helmer said, petting Caron's hair, dear, it's okay. We love you and we care about you, sweet Caron. You are not alone. And after 5 minutes of this, Caron finally settled down. And as Helmer was releasing his hug and moving away, the Jew leaned forward and he tried to kiss Helmer. And Helmer moved away from Caron, but the young man detained Helmer. I'm sorry, said Caron meekly. It's fine, don't worry about it. I won't tell anyone, said Helmer, giving a sheepish smile. It still isn't right, said Caron. Settle down, Caron, said Helmer, forcing an even bigger fake smile. Caron meekly followed after Helmer, and on the last house they visited, Helmer had exited it with his shirt covered in blood. And Caron was still worried about what he was seeing. In an impulse, he pulled in a raised Helmer's shirt to check for bruises, and Caron's breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Helmer was not hurt. And as for Helmer, he had a searing migraine, and he was having one of those moments when one regrets all of their life decisions. Satisfied? Asked Helmer dryly. Caron blushed and he fixed Helmer's shirt, and the two did not speak to one another till they rendezvoused with the others at the restaurant. Helmer sat down beside Liam, facing Allan. And Allan said gleefully, we have fun with Liam. He is very useful at moving furniture. I guess I have found my life's calling, said Liam, laughing. And if you need something heavy or move, just call Dragon King Julian. It is nice to be spending some quality time with my brother, said Gregory, hugging Liam and Alec. And why didn't we do this before? Liam was king. He was busy, said Alec before sighing sadly. And when Liam gets over his stage fright, I can add him to my band, said Marina. And with Joshua on the piano and me doing the vocals, we can do chamber music. I am happy you included me in your future plans, said Joshua happily. I will join in as well, but Eric wants me to focus on my education, said Hope with a hopeless voice. Ah, that's a shame, said Julian, grinning. Hey, don't discourage him. Education is important, said Marina. The waiters came with the usual, and the party started eating, and as they did, they bartered with one another. And while they waited for Helmer's second cup of coffee, Allan asked, so, how did it go with baby Caron? Did he behave well? Were you a good little boy, my sweet baby brother Caron? Asked Ron, pulling Caron's cheek. Allan, your boyfriend tried to kiss me, and on the way out he pulled open my shirt, said Helmer, pointing to his button shirt. See, I am missing one button. I do not know where it landed. What? You said you weren't going to tell, whined Caron. Brown pouted, but he chose not to comment anything, and Joshua reacted with his usual merriment, which was echoed by Bethany. Allan and Gregory laughed as well, and Joshua excused himself before departing. And Allan asked, was he crying? Yes, said Helmer dryly. Was he sitting in the bed? Asked Gregory. Yes, said Helmer. I hugged him to console him, and I did not kiss him. Ah, there's your problem right there, explained Allan. When you hug Caron when he's sad and he happens to be sitting on a bed, he will try to kiss you. Next time give me a full instructional manual for your boyfriend, said Helmer with an exasperated expression. And he looked at the time and he said, I need a break from this situation. I will be back later. Helmer kissed Allan on the forehead and then he said, I will try to return before dusk, but I made no promises. Alright, that's the end of that chapter. Bye-bye and God bless.